Hey, today we're going to be using Solrock in the Love Cup, a spicy rock and psychic Pokemon that can do incredibly well in this meta and is highly overlooked. Now this team was made by a member of the community, the Eridos, who climbed up to 3,418 ELO with this team. Now do note, this team is going to require Solrock having Solar Beam and Macargo having Overheat, but unfortunately for me, I ran out of charge TMs trying to get those charge moves. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Electrode on the lead versus Eridos. So this is a tough lead loss. We're going to go ahead and swap into the Solrock right here and get ahead on energy. Now, Confusion is doing so much damage against it, and we are going to give up a shield as well because the lunge is going to be doing quite a bit of super effective damage. Now, they decide to swap out into Alomomola. Perfect. This is exactly what the Solrock is built for on this team. With Confusion and Rock Slide, as long as they don't throw a charge move, because now we're going to be going for the Psychic. This is actually going to do quite a bit of damage if they decide to let it go through. Okay, they decided to let it go through. We didn't get a shield right there, but that's okay. This is a lot of energy for us to farm down. Now, just because we didn't get a shield in that specific situation doesn't mean that we're not going to be getting shields on the back end. We're going to go ahead and shield right here just in case it was the Blizzard, but it's actually going to be the Psychic. And now we can fully farm down, and this is what makes Hisui Electrode so deadly. We're going to be seeing the Eridos come back in. We're going to go ahead and go for the Wild Charge. This does an incredible amount of damage, and we're also going to try to catch the charge move now on Macargo. So we're going to go ahead and swap, and they do decide to throw right here, which is fine. Now, if they have double water in the back, so be it. But most teams don't, which is what we're going to try to take advantage of, and it's actually going to be an Electrode in the back. Now, you guys see the charge move I have put over there on Macargo is going to be Overheat. I ran out of TMs and could not pull the Overheat, so I have to go with Heat Wave. This is what I have, but I just put the moveset over there for you guys. Now, what's great about Rock Tomb is it lowers the opponent's attack, which allows us to survive getting off another Rock Tomb right here, which is going to be forcing the final shield. And this is going to become a very dangerous, but a very cool situation. We get the final shield, we drop the attack again, and now our Electrode right here is going to be hit with a Hyper Beam. But thanks to the double Rock Tomb debuff, we can survive, load up on energy. They decide to swap into Eridos, which allows us to get the Wild Charge off right here. Boom! And because of the delay from the damage from Volt Switch, we get a second Wild Charge off. And that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Boom! Yeah, clutch right there. Hisui Electrode is incredibly good with energy. All right, we got a Macargo here on the lead. So pretty decent for us because we can do a lot of damage with Energy Ball, and they are a rock throw Macargo right here. So we're going to go ahead and go for that Energy Ball. There's no reason to debuff ourselves, even though we're doing neutral with both. With Wild Charge and Energy Ball, there's no reason to debuff ourselves so that we take more damage. So what we're going to look to do here is we're going to be shielding and then look to go for a double Wild Charge if we can. We're also going to have to get into the Solrock soon, but they actually swap into a Medicham. So this is where things can get very, very dangerous. A Medicham we typically want to try to handle with our own Electrode. So we have to go for a double Wild Charge right here to try to force a shield from them because we have now gotten them low enough. So we get a shield. All right, now we can put our own Solrock onto the field and we will be resisting Psychic. And we also only take neutral from Power Up Punch and Counter. So we should be able to survive long enough where we can do a lot of damage with Confusion right here. Granted, they're going to keep going for power-up punches, but this Solrock is just built different because now we should be able to get to this Rock Slide right here, which is going to force that final shield. They seem pretty committed to the Medicham right now, so let's see if we get it. No, they let it go, but they did survive. Oh, that's a tough one. We're going to let this go through. We're going to trust that our Macargo could potentially sweep. So we're going to go ahead and swap out right away, and let's see what decides to come in. It is going to be the Macargo that comes in on their side, and they decide to swap out into Wigglytuff right here. So this is looking to be a good game because what we can do now with the energy gain and damage from Incinerate, we should be able to get to 3 Rock Tombs. We just did 1, and now we should be able to fully farm down right here and get to 2. So that's going to be a good game. We're going to go ahead and shield. and then fully farmed down with Incinerate, and then we have double Rock Tomb ready to go for the opponent's Macargo. We're almost at a second one there, so we're going to go ahead and throw the first one, and then it's going to be a race to the second one, and again, because of the debuff here with the attack, their rock throws are going to be doing less damage, which is going to allow us to get to the second one, or the third one, I should say, in time, so that's going to be a good game, very well played. Boom! Down goes the Macargo. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Electrode on the lead versus Lickitung. Okay, so this is kind of a tough one because I know two things. Firstly, I can't stay in this. So I'm going to be going for wild charges. And secondly, there's probably a Medicham in the back. So what we need to do here is let this first body slam go through. And then we're going to look to go for double wild charges if we can. So we're going to go ahead and build up. We're going to just try put a lot of pressure on the Lickitung, and I might actually think to swap out into Solrock, but they actually decided to shield, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a second one here. Now we have to swap out. We're just going to get fast move down if we stay in. So now we're going to swap out into the Solrock, get ahead on energy, and sure enough, they swap in a Medicham. This happens every single time, and it's a beautiful situation for us because it gets the Medicham onto the field, which opens up the opportunity for Macargo to sweep in the endgame. And they know that they shouldn't really be going for Psychic because of how heavily resisted it is. So they typically go for power-up punches, which allows us to just do a ton of damage with Confusion and survive a bit longer because they aren't typically running with like Dynamic Punch, for example. So we are going to be able to almost Confusion down. Now this is the tough thing. Do I come in with Electrode or do I come in with Macargo? I'm going to go ahead and come in with the Electrode right here and farm down. Thankfully, we were able to. So that's beautiful. We swap out, and there's an Eridos in the back. So that is going to be a good game. They really can't do a lot of damage to us. The biggest thing I'm worried about is going to be a Power Whip. So we're going to go ahead and shield here, and it was a Power Whip, so perfect. And now we can overload on energy and look to go for a Rock Tomb. Again, this lowers the attack, so if they do happen to get to another Power Whip, it's going to do less damage, and we're not worried about the charge moves in the back from Eridos. So we do have a second shield. This is the thing that would hurt, so I'm going to go ahead and shield. It was just another body slam, but Eridos wouldn't hurt as well, plus we have a Rock Tomb ready to go for it. So that's going to be a good game. I'm actually going to go for the Heat Wave right here for the big boom. But again, if you have Overheat, if you guys can roll it, I ran out of TMs. But boom! Good game. All right. Strategy working to a T. All right, we got Electrode on the lead versus Macargo. Okay, so another somewhat decent lead matchup right here for us, and they swap out into Wigglytuff, so we bring in our own Macargo. This is looking to be Macargo Double Charm, which this team actually does very well against, which is good. It does very well against it, so we're just going to go ahead and go for the Rock Tomb right away to lower the damage from the Wigglytuff, and then we are just going to hard farm down. Now, we don't necessarily need to shield anything right here, Ice Beam or Play Rough, but I'm going to shield anyways because what I want to do is have a lot of health against the other Macargo so that I can get off these two Rock Tombs. If I didn't, then I probably wouldn't be able to get off two Rock Tombs because the added damage right there, they would fast move us down beforehand. So we're able to throw the first one. They don't shield it, which is fine. Now we're able to throw the second one. So this is going to be getting, again, should be getting a shield from them. And then lowering their attack even more. So shielding the charge move from Wigglytuff, even though we could survive, was definitely beneficial. Now we're going to bring in the Electrode right here, and we're going to look to load up on energy and go for an Energy Ball. I don't want to debuff myself again if we can get to the Energy Ball in time. This is going to be forcing a shield anyways, but they decide to let it go, and in comes a Clefable, so it is going to be the Double Charm. So we're going to go ahead and build up to double Wild Charge right here, and then look to swap out into Solrock to close this game out because we should be getting a shield. We do get the shield, so now we go for the extra. I didn't get there in time. So we now can come in with Solrock, and that's okay. Solrock is going to be able to take this one because a Rock Slide should be enough damage right here with Confusion damage to take out the Clefable, as Charm doesn't gain energy very quickly, so they won't be able to get to two charge moves. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Electrode on the lead versus Eridos again. So what we need to do is swap out right away into Solrock, and this time they bring in the Alomomola right away instead of debuffing us. So, like in Game 1 when I said we could typically get shields, I forgot to account that the lunge debuff does not allow for that. But in this situation, because we aren't debuffed, double Rock Slide will get us a shield advantage, and they actually decided to throw energy instead. So this is a very good situation where I can shield myself, throw the Rock Slide here, which is going to force a shield from them, and now they only have one shield left, but my own Electrode is going to be able to get more than one Wild Charge worth of energy, which is going to be huge against their Eridos on the lead. So we're going to go ahead and come in with the Electrode, fully farmed down right here. This is a beautiful situation. A one shield full farm down is probably the scariest thing for the opponent right now, because I'm going to have so much energy that this Eridos is not going to be able to survive. Look, we're at 100 max energy. Let's see who decides to come in. It's going to be Eridos, but they actually make a swap in right away into their Electrode. So that was a sneaky swap by them, but ultimately we're still looking very good because I can still go for 2 more Wild Charges because we resist the Volt Switch damage. And we know Macargo can sweep this game now that we see the team, so we're going to go ahead and just go for another Wild Charge. And this is going to be a good game because the Macargo is going to be able to sweep this one. The hardest fast move, or the hardest charge move left in the game is going to be from Electrode here. So we're going to actually, I decided to let it go. That's risky by me. I should be just shielding that. But the Eridos now is going to be coming in, and we can get to the Rock Tomb in time. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. In hindsight, shield that charge move from Electrode. Hyper Beam is not the move you have to look out for because you resist it because of our rock typing. But the discharge is what could hurt. So, yeah, good game right there. It just goes to show the Alomomola comes out. You can put shield pressure on it, and then you can hard farm down with the Electrode. All right, we got Electrode on the lead versus Druddigon. Now, this is the toughest Pokemon to face off against with this team because our damage is all resisted or neutral. We don't have any charms or Dragon Claws or anything, so we're going to have to shield right here. Excuse me. And it is going to be the Dragon Claw right there. So this is actually a very tough situation where we're going to go for a Rock Slide. We're going to try to get a shield, and we got to hope that the back line is something that we can handle. I'm hoping maybe there's an Eridos back there that our Macargo can do well against, and I'm actually going to let this charge move go through because I don't think I'd be able to farm down with Confusion. So this is going to be a tough one right here. I got to come in with Macargo, I think. I don't want to have to throw a charge move on the Hisui Electrode, and I wouldn't be able to farm down with Thundershock. So now we're going to have to no-shield this Dragon Claw, and this is where things get very dangerous. They do swap in a Slowbro, so we're going to go ahead and go for, this is his Galarian Slowbro. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Heat Wave right here, and then swap into our Electrode now, as it is going to be Confusion instead of Poison Jab, which is good. And now we're going to be forced to shield the Sludge Bomb, but we got to build up a lot of energy, and we need to hope that the final Pokemon in the back is something that we can delete pretty quickly. And we're going to go for an Energy Ball right here. Because I don't want to debuff myself if they decide to let it go. But they actually decided to shield, which is now going to force me to throw this Wild Charge, unfortunately, because I didn't want them to get to another Sludge Bomb. And now I'm extremely low. And there's still the Druddigon to deal with, which has a decent amount of health, and actually going to be an Aromatisse in the back. Yeah, that's a good game. It was tough for me to come back from that one. The Druddigon lead is definitely very strong against this team because we're relying on seeing a lot of waters and flyers with Electrode. Water, for example, Slowbro right here on the lead. Very positive for us, so we will probably see them swap out, and we do see them swap out into Lickitung, so we're going to go for the Wild Charge, and then we're going to come in with Macargo. You don't want to come in with Solrock because you take super effective damage from Lick, even though you resist the Body Slam, and you also take a lot of damage from Power Whip because it is going to be super effective. So you got to come in with the Macargo here. And typically, this team that I've seen a lot is going to have a Medicham in the back in most situations. So what we need to do here is actually go for, I'm going to go for the Heat Wave. Just to see how much damage it can do, because I think I'm going to commit to the full farm down anyways if they decide to let it go. And here comes another charge move. It's like, we got to let this one go. It is going to be the Power Whip, which does do a decent amount of damage. But now we're going to see if we can get to this Rock Tomb in time. Yeah, we can. All right, so we're low enough where if they want to take Switch, so be it. Energy on the Electrode is going to be huge. But they actually decided to let it go, and in comes the Medicham. So now we can bring in the Solrock right here. And all we need to do with Solrock is pressure this Medicham into shielding, because the Electrode with double Wild Charge should be able to close it out if we can get this Medicham to about 50% HP, which we will be able to now with the Psychic. If they decide to let it go through, so be it. And nope, they decided to shield, so that is perfect. We're going to go ahead and now we got the defense drop as well. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through and then swap into the Electrode, get ahead on energy, and see if they decide to swap out. We're actually going to be forced to shield right here. I don't want to get hit with a surprise Ice Punch, even though it is just a power-up punch, and we're waiting to see if they swap out. They're not yet, so I'm going to go ahead and go for Wild Charge. I only need 2 Wild Charges, really, to win this game, because with the defense drop and neutral damage, boom, down goes the Medicham, in comes the Slowbro, and we should be able to nearly one-shot the Slowbro right here. Boom! Yeah, nearly one-shot right there, and Solrock with Confusion can close this out, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. This team was a lot of fun to use, honestly. It took a lot of people by surprise. All right, we got Hisui Electrode Mirror right here. So what we're going to look to do is go for 1 Energy Ball and 2 Wild Charges. Now, I don't know what they have in the back, but my guess is they may have another Fire, so they could have a Charizard or a Macargo back there, just based on the pairing that we have. So we're going to go ahead and go for our own Energy Ball now. And then I'm going to look to go for back-to-back Wild Charges if I can. Now, we don't get a debuff right there on them, unfortunately. I'm also going to let them throw. This is perfectly fine with me. We should be able to survive anything. And it is going to be another Energy Ball, which is fine. This means I will get to 2 Wild Charges first, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the back-to-back because now this is going to be forcing a shield. Just because even though it does a little bit less damage, it's going to be enough to potentially force a shield right here from them, just because it's going to be very, very close. And we do get the shield, so I swap now into Solrock, and I'm going to have to shield myself. I don't want to get hit with the Energy Ball, but I'm going to look to Confusion down if they stay in. And they do decide to stay in, which is fine. That means we can fully Confusion down. Perfect. We saved our Electrode for a Sax Swap. And they bring in a Crawdon. And I'm like, whoa. All right. So we both have a little bit of spice going on. I got Solrock. They got Crawdon. This is going to be very interesting. Now, Crawdon is a Water Dark type Pokemon with Snarl, Night Slash, and Crabhammer. So we let the Night Slash go through. Boom! Down goes our Solrock. We have to come in with Macargo right here because we're going to take way too much damage from Snarl and the Electrode is too low. But what we can safely do is shield because I don't want to get hit with a surprise Crabhammer. That would one-shot us probably. So we stop the Night Slash. They decide to swap out right there and they bring in a Wormadam Trash. So I actually overload too much on energy. I should have thrown the Rock Tomb right away because now this is going to get very, very dangerous for us. Hopefully I can get to the next Rock Tomb. No, I cannot in time. So I did 1 extra fast move with max energy, unfortunately, as the Iron Head does a decent amount to us. We're going to go ahead and throw this next Rock Tomb. This should take out the Wormadam. Remember, there is still the Crawdon to deal with. They bring it back in, and they have the charge move ready to go. Remember, we still got our Electrode sitting in the back, so this is going to be a good game. Very well played as we can come in and do a Thunder Shock, and that is going to be a good battle. Spicy team right there from my opponent. All right, we've got Electrode versus Eridos again on the lead. We swap out right away into Solrock, get ahead on energy. They're deciding to stay in on this one, looking to go for the lunge, so we're going to go ahead and shield right here and have energy advantage against whatever they decide to bring in. This time they bring in a Lickitung. So we're going to look to go for Psychics. Both Rock Slide and Psychic do neutral damage, but the Psychic has the opportunity to debuff our opponent, which we get right there, the Defense Fell. That is perfect for us because now they're going to be forced to go for a Power Whip in order to take us out. Body Slam is not going to be enough. So I decided to actually let it go, but we have that defense drop, and now we can look to come in with the Electrode and load up on energy. Now they do get to a Body Slam in time, which is fine, but when it comes to the Eridos that was on the lead, we want to make sure we're a bit ahead on energy so that we can try to land a charge move against it because it threw a lunge and then bailed. So we're going to go ahead and go for the energy ball. They decide to let it go. In comes the Eridos. We're going to swap out into the Macargo, get ahead on energy again, and they bring in another Electrode. So this is going to be a good game because we're so far ahead now that this Rock Tomb is just going to constantly be debuffing the Electrode, and we still have energy on our own Hisui Electrode. We're almost at a Wild Charge, and we can let these foul plays go through. Doesn't do too much damage right here. We can go for another Rock Tomb, and then Yeah, this is looking to be a good game because it's going to be kind of tough for them to come back from this if we can get one more Rock Tomb. But now this is a tough decision. I think I actually decide to let this go because the foul play is not going to be enough to take us out. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can get to this Rock Tomb in time. But then I should have just, I messed this all up. I messed this all up because now the foul play will take us out and the air. If I just threw the Rock Tomb there, I got so antsy. If I threw the Rock Tomb against the Electrode, we take it out, we come in with our Hisui Electrode, and then throw the Wild Charge against the Eridos, and we win. But in this case, I lose now to the opponent's Electrode, and that's going to be a good battle. Very well played. I got so antsy because the energy coming back and my health remaining was so close that I decided to swap. All right, we got Slowbro on the lead versus Wigglytuff. So what we're going to do here is go build up a lot of energy, go for Wild Charge, and then we're going to come in with our Macargo. My guess is if this was a safe swap Wigglytuff, then it's probably going to be a double charm line. And with a Slowbro on the lead, we can definitely handle this team. So we're just going to play it to that and just go straight for Rock Tombs. But that last battle, right, the energy coming back, the 1 HP, and instead of, I could have just thrown the Rock Tomb and we would have been good, right? Because Electrode would have gone down. The Eridos would have gotten 1 Poison Sting off against us, and then we would have been able to shield the charge move from Eridos and throw the Wild Charge to win the game. But instead, I swapped and messed it all up, which happens. But we can just go for Rock Tombs now against the Slowbro, as they're going to try to Confusion us down, which I think they will be able to before we can get to another one, which is fine. We have our Hisui Electrode with lots of health still remaining, even though it's at about 50%. And this is still looking a good game. We're going to go ahead and shield right here. I know they're going to be swapping out into another Charmer here in a second, but they decide to stay in, so we're going to go ahead and load up on energy and look to go for a Wild Charge. Now, if they decide to shield this is going to be interesting. They decide to let it go. Boom! Final Pokemon is actually Clefable, so it is going to be double charm. So we throw the Wild Charge here. This should get a shield, and then we will swap out into Solrock and rock this Clefable's world. It's going to be a good battle. Very well played. We're going to go for the Psychic. Both do neutral damage in the matchup, and Psychic just hits a little bit harder. So that is going to be a good one. But this team was so much fun to use. Electrode, Macargo, Hisui Electrode, Macargo, and Solrock. And the Solrock save swap was just beautiful. Bringing out Alomomolas, bringing out Metachams. And we got Wormadam, Trash, Cloak here on the lead. So this is actually going to be kind of a tough one because we want to try to do as much damage as we can with Wild Charge, but we're also very concerned about a water Pokemon in the back, right? If you have a lead of a Wormadam, you're going to fear Charizards and Macargos, so you're going to have a Alomomola in the back. So what we need to do is go for double Wild Charge, and then we need to bail into our Solrock right here, trying to draw it out. Now, unfortunately, I forgot about Iron Head, which is definitely going to be hurting. So now we're going to be shielding right here. And this Wormadam loaded up on a ton of energy. So we're going to have to double shield here. And this is where things can get very dicey. So let's see what they have in the back. They're actually not swapping out. Maybe they're trying to get to another Iron Head in time, which actually we fully farm down. Okay. All right, we're actually in a good position. There's a lot of energy on this Solrock. Let's see what they bring in. It is going to be a Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro right here, which makes sense why they didn't swap out because this is going to do a lot of neutral damage in this matchup. And now we can just go for a Rock Slide here, which is even better because this is going to force that final shield. And if the final Pokemon is weak to anything on my team, I think it's going to be a good battle because the Slowbro is going to have to throw energy in order to take us out. And I honestly don't think, if this is Psychic, I don't think it's going to be enough to take us out, which we do survive right there and farm down. And we can go for a Rock Slide, and the last Pokemon was Electrode in the back. So this is a good game as we can bring in our Macargo right here and close this game out with a Rock Tomb probably. Yeah, I think I'd just go for Rock Tomb right here to close it out. So that's going to be a good battle. Very well played. But yeah, the Wormadam, at first I was like, okay, I know there's going to be a water type in the back. We're going to have to bail out. But then once I bailed out, the thought came to my head. I'm like, oh man, this thing has Iron Head. That's going to be hitting super effective. I'm going to have to give up 2 shields. So thankfully there wasn't a water in the back. The Electrode does make sense still, having it in the back there. But overall, this team was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hisui Electrode, Macargo, and Solrock. So, like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.